General Michael Ferguson's first report was expected to be a scathing indictment of how the Department of National Defense decided to purchase the F-35 fighter jet. And the report was fairly damning, citing a lack of documentation about decision-making and hiding information from the public about the true cost of the aircraft. The problem wasn't with one person or group of people. Rather, the problem rested with one word.
Process of having such a process, competitive process, that process is a good process.
The process.
If the process, decision-making process, that type of process was not good enough.
Right through the process,
they need to make sure that they have in place better processes from this process.
That process.
It was the process that was flawed, Ferguson said. The Auditor General found that the Department of National Defense decided to buy the American-made plane without an open competition or any documents to support that decision. The report also found that in 2011, the department did not provide Parliament with the cost of the F-35, even though the department had those numbers. National Defense, as well as Public Works, didn't follow the basics of good management expected for a $25 billion government purchase.
That there were problems throughout the whole decision-making process, and the financial information that was brought forward should have been better. The reasons behind some of those the weaknesses really are questions that you need to ask of the department.
National Defense and Public Works said they have come up with a process to address the issues raised by the Auditor General. The Conservatives were questioned in the House of Commons Tuesday about their handling of the file.
The key question to the Prime Minister is, how could he allow Parliament to be intentionally misled on the F-35s? Either he knew and it's unconscionable, or he didn't know and it's incompetence. Which is it?
And how they would respond.
The Auditor General has identified a need for greater independence and supervision over some of the activities of the Department of National Defense. In this regard, the government will put that supervision in place before we proceed.
Ensure that the Department of National Defense does refine their cost estimates. In addition, we will ensure that we move this project into a secretariat that will manage the process of replacing the CF-18s, and we will immediately freeze the funding for the F-35s.
Why would you expect a different result if you're putting the same people in charge?
Ferguson's report also found strengths and weaknesses in Canada's border control on consumer goods, how the Canada Review Agency pursues tax cheats, and a failure on the part of Transport Canada to inspect 500 air travel companies that could be considered high risk. But it was really the F-35 that stole the show on Tuesday, with many people wondering whether this far into the process to replace the CF-18s, that the process could actually be saved.
The government has an intention to replace the CF-18 jets, so what they need to do is they need to figure out what their process is going to be from here on until the actual acquisition of replacement jets, and they need to make sure that process is a good process, that it works well, and it needs to deal with some of the issues that we identified.
For Post Media News in Ottawa, I'm Jordan Press.